Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You'd imagine I had a master plan between the HPI and 15 years later now, but there wasn't. All right, I'm gonna Google myself, something I definitely don't do every morning. And that is indeed me. I'm 37 years old. I work at Google and I studied at the HPI and did my bachelor's in 2009. I'm a senior director for product management, design and developer relations for Chrome OS. So my teams are the product managers, the designers, building the operating system running on Chromebooks. There's a lot of collaboration, a lot of brainstorming. We think about who the user is, what their needs are, something that the HPI actually as part of software engineering has taught us as well. Yeah, this lecture hall brings up memories. The teaching was incredibly close to what you would do in industry. Early on we did a project with a satellite company testing satellites, and that's a practical approach that you rarely find elsewhere. I think something the HPI saw early was that software engineering and computer science is changing. How do you run a large team? How do you work on complex systems? Which, 15 years later now is my day-to-day life. Yeah, it has grown a lot, but it's nice to see that some things never change. It feels familiar, but much more grown up than when I was here. There's many more topics like health, the governance, and it's exciting to see that the HPI has followed its path and not let go from the core principles that they are founded with. The professors here are much more engaged in the teaching and in the engagement with students. We had a database systems course, Professor Naumann was teaching it, and we did a project at the end of it. And you could sort of say, great, you did a project, that's it. But instead he looked at the project and he was like, this is interesting.
So in essence, this was an information integration and record linkage kind of problem, right?
The VIP in Napster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Who doesn't like stars?
Yeah,
and it turns out database systems are behind it. And Professor Naumann worked with us to get us to travel to the conference in Beijing. So here you are, some bachelor students in their second year traveling to a conference based on the engagement and the collaboration with the professor, which I think is pretty unique. When I started at the HPI, artificial intelligence, mobile, virtual reality, that all was just the very beginning, if that. And now these things are right there. And I could have not predicted that 10 years ago. But having had the tools that you're being equipped with in this education enabled me to adapt to the changing environment, which in our industry is such an important aspect. I wish I came more. It's true, actually.